Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the recent change, the recent increase in what we call the temporary skilled migration income threshold, the TsmIT. Now, what is TsmIT? So TsmIT is the minimum income threshold that an employer is required to pay to an employee who's working in Australia. Now, they had reset the minimum income threshold recently, sometime back, to $70,000 a year. And from the 1st of July 2024, they will be increasing this minimum income threshold to $73,150. Now, there are two things I want offshore applicants to understand very clearly. One, when we say that the minimum income threshold has increased, that does not mean that the burden has been passed on to the employees. That is, we don't care what you do, how many hours you work, but you have to make sure that you're earning an income of at least $73,150 a year. Rather, what it means is that the employers who are sponsoring applicants, overseas workers, or employers who are employing applicants on temporary visas will need to now ensure that they pay them at least $73,150. So I would say the restriction, or let's say the burden, is on the employers and not you, the employees. And secondly, and most importantly, the point test visa applicants, especially the 491 visa applicants, are not affected by this change. In fact, when the 491 visa was started, there was a requirement for the applicants to demonstrate for 3 years that they had been earning an income, a minimum income of $53,900 a year for 3 years before they could become eligible to apply for the permanent visa, that is subclass 191. Now, when the minimum threshold income was increased to 70,000 sometime back, there was a lot of panic amongst 491 applicants because they felt that we are going to be fairly new to the country and we would not be having any Australian work experience, so it probably may not be possible for us to achieve that kind of income. However, the good thing was that for the 491 visa applicants, the condition for earning at least $53,900 that was initially set was erased, was completely removed. Therefore, those who are applying for a 491 visa as on today or have been applying in the past are not subjected to any minimum income threshold. It does not matter how much income are you earning. Now, who are the people who are going to be affected by the increase in the TsmIT from the 1st of July? So the subclasses that are going to be affected are subclass 482, subclass 186, and subclass 494. Now, I understand a lot of people still think of 491 visa as a temporary visa, which is why they think that, okay, so if the TsmIT, the minimum income threshold, applies to temporary visas, so obviously it applies to 491 as well. Now, let me again kind of tell you here. 491 is not a permanent residence visa, but it is a pathway to permanent residence. It is a short pathway to permanent residence, provided you meet your obligations of living in regional area for 3 years and working in regional areas for 3 years. It is a regional work visa. It is a provisional visa. It is not really temporary visa like a work visa or a visa that employers a job offered by an employer. Therefore, let me just tell you again what 491 visa is. It is a visa where you only need to work in the regional areas for 3 years and work in any occupation. That occupation may be completely unrelated to your field. It does not matter. Let's say you're somebody who's got a 491 visa as an internal auditor. So it is not necessary for you to be working as an internal auditor or as an accountant. You could be working as a clerk, you could be working as a caregiver, or you could even be self-employed. And well, somebody who's there on a 491 visa can also be eligible for a 191 visa. Now, 191 is the permanent stage, that is the permanent residence visa, which you can apply for after 3 years, with either of the two meeting the living and working conditions. So let's say there is a spouse, there's a couple who moved to Australia, and let's say the primary applicant is a woman, but upon reaching Australia, she decides not to work, she decides to be a homemaker, and her husband decides to work and fulfill the requirement of living there for 3 years and working there for 3 years. So for the 191 visa, he can be the primary applicant, even though his wife was the primary applicant for the 491 visa. So you must be also aware that the 491 visa is a multiple entry visa. Therefore, you do not have to live and work in Australia at a stretch or in one go. You are free to travel in and out of Australia, work for some time, a few months, maybe take a break and then work again for a few months, as long as you complete 36 months in 5 years. And lastly, the applicants, the temporary visa applicants, the applicants who have applied for temporary skilled migration, who are going to be affected by the increase in the TsmIT, are the applicants who will be seeking a nomination after the 1st of July 2024. Therefore, applicants who have already received their nominations or invitations to apply for a visa but have yet not lodged their visa applications, or have lodged their visa applications and are waiting for a decision, this increase in the threshold will not affect them in any way. So I hope this TsmIT increase is clear to you by now. Nothing that concerns 491 applicants. Just stay calm and stay tuned for our next video. If you have any queries, feel free to write into us on 78498 or email us on CaanWings@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to answer your queries. Until next time, bye-bye and take care.